He was the pirate with the crooked grin, the actor who could disappear into any costume, a man whose face became one of the most recognizable in modern cinema. Johnny Depp, rebellious, unpredictable, magnetic. But behind the eyeliner, the scarves, and the billion-dollar films, there was another reality. One built on instability, violence, addiction, and a lifetime of emotional damage that never fully healed. Before the awards and red carpets, there was a boy moving constantly from house to house across America. Before the fame, there was a child watching his parents fight late into the night. Before Hollywood called, there was a teenager sleeping on couches and dropping out of school at 16. And the price of glory would eventually become public humiliation, collapsing relationships, legal warfare, and the slow erosion of a reputation built over decades. So what happens when the man behind the characters can no longer hide inside them? And when fame magnifies every mistake, does success really protect a person, or does it simply make the fall more visible? Before we begin, take a moment to leave a like on this video as a small tribute to the complicated life and career of Johnny Depp. The story begins long before Hollywood ever knew his name. Johnny Christopher Depp II was born on June 9, 1963, in Owensboro, Kentucky. His father, John Christopher Depp, worked as a civil engineer. His mother, Betty Sue Palmer, worked as a waitress. The family belonged to the American working class. Long shifts, modest pay, and constant financial pressure. By the time Johnny was 7 years old, he had already lived in more than 20 different homes. The family moved repeatedly across the southeastern United States, chasing work opportunities and cheaper rent. Constant relocation meant new schools, unfamiliar classmates, and the absence of long-term friendships. For a child, stability is usually built through routine. Same bedroom, same school, same neighborhood. Johnny Depp did not have that. Instead, he had cardboard boxes and moving trucks. Statistically, psychologists often point out that frequent childhood relocation can increase feelings of instability and social detachment. According to multiple child development studies, children who move repeatedly are more likely to experience anxiety and behavioral problems later in adolescence. Inside the Depp household, tension was constant. Betty Sue Palmer, Depp's mother, was known for her temper. In later interviews, Depp described her as unpredictable and physically abusive. Household arguments could escalate quickly. Plates would break. Doors would slam. Children learned to stay quiet. Domestic conflict creates a very specific environment for a child. Constant vigilance. You listen for footsteps. You read facial expressions. You learn to predict moods before words are spoken. For Depp, home was not a place of safety. It was a place to endure. The family eventually settled in Miramar, Florida when Johnny was around 15 years old. This was one of the few moments when the constant movement finally stopped. But by then, much of the damage had already been done. Johnny Depp struggled in school almost immediately. He was restless, distracted, and disconnected from the classroom environment. Teachers noticed he had little interest in traditional academic structure. At 12 years old, he discovered something that changed his daily routine: music. His mother bought him a guitar. It was not an expensive instrument, just a basic starter guitar, but it became an escape. Depp began spending hours alone in his room, learning chords, experimenting with sounds, practicing late into the night. Music offered something he hadn't experienced before: control. A guitar does not argue. It does not criticize. It simply responds to the pressure of your fingers. By 14, Depp was already experimenting with drugs. Marijuana became common in his teenage years. Later he would describe it almost casually, as if it was simply part of the environment he grew up in. Statistically, teenagers exposed to unstable home environments are significantly more likely to experiment with substances early. It becomes another form of escape. By 16, Depp made a decision that would permanently alter his path. He dropped out of high school. The plan was simple: become a rock musician. He joined several garage bands around Florida, eventually playing with a group called the Kids. They were not famous. They were not even widely known outside local club scenes. But they played constantly. Bars, small venues, anywhere that would allow teenagers to perform. Life as a struggling musician was not glamorous. The band often slept in cars or cramped apartments. Money was inconsistent. Some nights they were paid in cash. Other nights they were paid in free drinks. The reality of early music careers is brutal. According to music industry data, fewer than 1% of working musicians ever reach a level of financial stability through performance alone. But Depp was committed. The kids eventually relocated to Los Angeles in the early 1980s, hoping to find better opportunities. Thousands of aspiring musicians made the same move during that period. Drawn by the expanding rock and glam metal scene, Los Angeles in the early 1980s was chaotic. The Sunset Strip was filled with clubs. The Whiskey A Go-Go, the Roxy, Troubadour. Bands performed every night hoping to be discovered by record labels. But success rarely arrived. Bills still had to be paid. To survive, Depp took odd jobs. Construction work, telemarketing, selling pens over the phone. Jobs that had nothing to do with art or music. Around this time, Depp married Lori and Allison, a makeup artist working in the Los Angeles entertainment industry. The marriage was short-lived, but it placed Depp in social circles connected to film and television. Through Allison, Depp met actor Nicolas Cage. Cage noticed something unusual about Depp's appearance. He had sharp features, intense eyes, and an unconventional presence. Cage suggested that Depp consider acting. At the time, Depp had no formal acting training, no theater background, no experience on film sets. But he needed money. Cage helped him secure a meeting with director Wes Craven, who was casting a low-budget horror film. The film was called A Nightmare on Elm Street. Depp auditioned almost by accident. According to several production accounts, Craven's daughter reportedly thought Depp looked interesting and encouraged her father to cast him. He was given a small role as Glenn Lance. During filming, Depp had no idea that this small horror movie would become one of the most influential franchises in horror history. At the time, it was simply a job. But one scene changed everything. In the film, Depp's character falls asleep in bed. A supernatural force drags him into the mattress. Moments later, a violent geyser of blood erupts from the bed and sprays across the ceiling. The scene became iconic. For the first time, millions of viewers saw Johnny Depp on screen. But success did not arrive immediately. Throughout the mid-1980s, Depp continued struggling for stable acting work. He appeared in small television roles and minor films. Many casting directors saw him as another young face in an overcrowded industry. Hollywood statistics reveal the harsh truth. Thousands of actors arrive in Los Angeles every year, but only a fraction ever achieve long-term careers. Depp was still living paycheck to paycheck. He continued playing music. Acting was not yet his identity. But slowly, something began to shift. In 1987, Depp was cast in a television series that would unexpectedly transform his life. 21 Jump Street. The show followed a group of young-looking police officers who infiltrated high schools to investigate crimes among teenagers. Depp played Officer Tom Hansen. Almost overnight, he became a teen idol. Posters of Johnny Depp appeared in bedrooms across America. Teen magazines printed his photos. Fan letters arrived by the thousands. But this sudden popularity created a strange contradiction. Johnny Depp did not want to be a teen idol. He had originally pursued music because he admired artists who rejected mainstream expectations. People like Iggy Pop and Keith Richards. Now he was being marketed as a clean-cut television heartthrob. Behind the scenes, Depp often felt trapped. He reportedly referred to the show as a product machine, something that reduced actors to marketable images rather than complex individuals. But contracts are binding. For 4 seasons, Depp remained on the show. Each episode increased his visibility, but also intensified his frustration. He wanted to escape, and eventually he would. But the path away from television fame would lead him directly into some of the most unusual roles in Hollywood history. Leaving 21 Jump Street did not instantly solve Johnny Depp's problems. It only changed their shape. The show had made him famous, but the fame came with a label he despised: teen idol. Hollywood studios saw him as a product designed for magazine covers and fan clubs. Casting directors kept offering roles that looked almost identical. Handsome young man, predictable dialogue, simple personality. Depp rejected most of them. At that moment in his life, he was not chasing popularity. He was chasing distance from it. The late 1980s and early 1990s were a transitional period in American film. Big-budget blockbusters dominated theaters, but a parallel independent film scene was emerging. Directors with unusual ideas were gaining attention. One of those directors was Tim Burton. Burton was preparing a strange film about a man created artificially who had scissors instead of hands. The script was unconventional. The character barely spoke. Major studios were uncertain about it. The film became Edward Scissorhands. When Burton met Depp, he saw something useful. An actor who was already tired of playing normal people. Depp, in turn, saw a chance to escape the teen idol image permanently. The role required a different type of performance. Depp spent much of the film silent. Heavy makeup covered his face. The costume restricted movement. His fingers were replaced by metal blades that made simple actions, opening doors, sitting down, eating, physically awkward. The performance forced Depp to communicate through body language rather than dialogue. The film succeeded both critically and commercially. It changed Depp's trajectory. For the first time, he was viewed as an actor willing to take creative risks rather than simply a television celebrity. But success in Hollywood rarely arrives without consequences. During the early 1990s, Depp developed a reputation for intensity off-screen. His personal life became increasingly chaotic. Romantic relationships began and ended rapidly. One of the most publicized relationships began when Depp met Winona Ryder. Their relationship moved quickly. They became engaged when Depp was 27 and Ryder was 17. Depp even tattooed the phrase, "Winona Forever," on his arm. The relationship placed them under constant media attention. Photographers followed them through airports, restaurants, film sets. But the engagement ended in 1993. After the breakup, Depp altered the tattoo. Winona Forever became Wino Forever. The modification was small but revealing. It hinted at another pattern that had already begun to form in Depp's life: alcohol. Throughout the 1990s, Depp's drinking increased steadily. Alcohol had always existed in the background of his social environment, but now it became a daily routine. The physical reality of heavy drinking is mechanical. Sleep becomes irregular. The body struggles to recover from long nights. Mood swings increase. Decision-making slows. Public incidents followed. In 1994, Depp was arrested in New York after destroying a hotel room at the Mark Hotel. Furniture was broken. Glass shattered. Police were called. The arrest became front-page news. Statistically, celebrity arrests often become amplified because of media economics. Newspapers and television programs benefit financially from high-profile scandals. The more recognizable the celebrity, the more valuable the story becomes. For Depp, each incident strengthened a new public narrative. Talented actor, unstable personality. Despite the chaos, his film career continued expanding. He appeared in films that deliberately avoided conventional leading man roles. Movies like Ed Wood, again directed by Tim Burton, where Depp played a real-life filmmaker famous for producing some of the worst movies in Hollywood history. The role required Depp to portray a man driven by relentless optimism despite constant failure. The character was eccentric, obsessive, and socially awkward. The performance received strong critical praise. But Depp's private life remained unstable. In 1998, he began a relationship with French singer and actress Vanessa Paradis. Unlike many of his earlier relationships, this one developed slowly. Depp relocated much of his life to France. The environment there offered distance from American paparazzi culture. Together they had 2 children, including actress Lily Rose Depp. For a period, Depp's life appeared calmer. He divided his time between film sets and family life. Interviews from that period show a different tone, less defensive, more reflective. But even during this relatively stable period, Depp continued drinking heavily. Then, in the early 2000s, a project arrived that would alter his career more dramatically than any previous role. Disney was developing a pirate adventure film based on a theme park attraction. Most studio executives viewed the project as risky. Pirate movies had historically performed poorly at the box office. The film became Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. Depp created the character of Captain Jack Sparrow with unusual influences. He studied the movements and speech patterns of Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones. The result was a pirate who staggered, slurred his words slightly, and behaved unpredictably. During early screenings, Some Disney executives worried that Depp's performance might damage the film. The character seemed intoxicated, eccentric, and difficult to categorize. But audiences responded immediately. Captain Jack Sparrow became one of the most recognizable characters in modern cinema. The film generated massive global revenue. Sequels followed. The franchise would eventually produce billions of dollars in box office income. Financial success changed Depp's lifestyle again. He purchased multiple properties around the world, including a private island in the Bahamas. Maintaining such assets required enormous financial resources: staff salaries, maintenance, security, taxes. Reports later suggested that Depp's monthly expenses sometimes reached hundreds of thousands of dollars. But fame at that scale also amplifies personal mistakes. During the 2000s and early 2010s, Depp's alcohol consumption intensified. Longtime associates described increasing dependence on alcohol and prescription medications. The body processes alcohol through the liver. Over long periods, heavy consumption places enormous stress on that organ. Sleep patterns deteriorate. Cognitive clarity declines. Physical stamina weakens. Meanwhile, Depp's relationship with Vanessa Paradis ended in 2012 after 14 years together. The separation was quiet compared to what would come later. In 2015, Depp married actress Amber Heard. The marriage lasted only 15 months. What followed became one of the most widely publicized legal conflicts in modern entertainment history. In 2016, Heard filed for divorce and accused Depp of domestic abuse. Photographs circulated showing bruises. Court filings described violent arguments. Depp denied the allegations. The dispute moved quickly from private legal filings into public media battles. Newspapers, television programs, and online platforms began analyzing every detail of their relationship. Defamation lawsuits followed. One major case involved the British newspaper The Sun after it described Depp as a wife-beater. Depp sued for libel in the United Kingdom. The court ultimately ruled against him. Another case unfolded in the United States, where Depp sued Heard over an opinion article she wrote in the Washington Post. The trial in Virginia became a global media spectacle in 2022. Courtroom footage streamed online. Millions of viewers analyzed testimony, text messages, and recorded arguments. The legal conflict revealed disturbing details about both individuals: screaming matches, property damage, emotional volatility. The mechanical reality of such trials is exhausting. Weeks of testimony, lawyers dissecting personal relationships, private messages displayed publicly. For Depp, the professional consequences were immediate. Major studios began distancing themselves from him. He lost roles, including his part in the Fantastic Beasts film series. Hollywood often responds to controversy through risk management. When an actor becomes associated with unpredictable legal conflict, studios worry about financial exposure. Even after the U.S. trial concluded, with a mixed verdict that largely favored Depp's defamation claim, the damage to his reputation had already spread globally. Careers in Hollywood depend heavily on perception, and perception can change faster than almost anything else in the entertainment industry. By the early 2020s, Johnny Depp had experienced a full cycle of celebrity life. Unknown musician, television idol, respected character actor, global superstar, and finally a figure defined by public scandal. But the most difficult part of the story was still ahead. Because fame eventually fades, scandals eventually quiet down, and courtrooms eventually empty. What remains is the physical reality of the person left behind when the cameras disappear. And by the time Johnny Depp reached his 60s, that reality had become impossible to ignore. By the time Johnny Depp reached his 60s, the noise around him had begun to fade. Courtrooms closed. Headlines slowed. The endless analysis of his personal life gradually moved on to other celebrities. But the human body does not move on as quickly as the media cycle. Johnny Depp was born in 1963. That means the man who once spent nights destroying hotel rooms and mornings filming complex action scenes is now in his early 60s. Age introduces mechanical limits. The metabolism slows. Sleep becomes irregular. Recovery from stress takes longer. For someone who spent decades smoking, drinking heavily, traveling constantly, and working inside a physically demanding industry, those limits become more visible. In interviews during the last few years, Depp has appeared noticeably thinner. His face carries deeper lines. The quick, mischievous energy he displayed during his 30s and 40s has softened into something slower and more deliberate. Aging actors often describe the same shift. The body simply stops cooperating the way it once did. Film sets require long hours. Shooting days often begin before sunrise and end long after midnight. Action sequences involve repeated takes, heavy costumes, and harsh lighting. Younger actors absorb this stress more easily. At 62, the calculation changes. The human liver also carries a long memory. Decades of alcohol consumption leave measurable effects: fatigue, digestive instability, and lowered tolerance for physical stress. Even when drinking decreases, the body continues processing the accumulated strain. Depp has spoken publicly about periods of heavy substance use earlier in his life. During the legal battles of the early 2020s, testimony described large quantities of alcohol and prescription medications moving through his daily routine. The mechanical effect of such habits is cumulative. Sleep cycles break. Focus fluctuates. Mood regulation becomes more difficult. Yet despite those realities, Depp did not disappear from public life after the trials ended. In fact, something unexpected happened. Support from fans intensified. Large crowds began appearing at concerts when Depp performed with the rock group Hollywood Vampires, a band he formed with musicians including Alice Cooper and Joe Perry. Music had been the original goal long before acting. Returning to the stage allowed Depp to reconnect with the identity he had pursued as a teenager. But performing in a rock band at 62 carries a different physical demand than performing at 25. Travel schedules are exhausting. Flights between cities disrupt sleep cycles. Loud stage environments strain hearing. Repeated late-night performances challenge stamina. For older musicians, recovery becomes part of the daily routine. Hydration, vocal rest, limited alcohol before performances. These routines are less glamorous than the mythology surrounding rock music, but they are necessary for survival on tour. Meanwhile, Depp gradually returned to film work, though in smaller and more controlled projects. One of the most significant was Jean du Barry, in which Depp portrayed the French King Louis XV. The role was unusual for several reasons. Depp performed much of his dialogue in French. The film premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, where audiences gave him a long-standing ovation. For a moment, the applause seemed to signal rehabilitation. But Hollywood is an industry built on memory as well as risk calculation. Major studios operate under strict financial logic. Films often cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Insurance companies evaluate actors based on reliability, public reputation, and potential controversy. Even after legal victories, reputational risk can remain. So Depp's career now exists in a different structure. Smaller productions, European financing, selective appearances. The scale has changed. At the same time, the economic consequences of his earlier lifestyle have also become visible. Financial records revealed during legal disputes suggested that Depp once spent enormous amounts of money monthly. Private islands, luxury homes, security staff, and extensive art collections created a financial ecosystem that required constant income. At one point, financial advisors claimed Depp spending exceeded several $100,000 per month. When income slows, such systems become difficult to maintain. Reports surfaced of properties being sold or reorganized. Staff numbers reduced. The scale of his lifestyle gradually adjusted. This pattern is not unique to Depp. Many high-earning celebrities experience the same cycle. During peak fame, money flows quickly. Expenses expand to match the income. When work slows or controversies interrupt careers, maintaining those expenses becomes complicated. But the most profound changes in Depp's life may be psychological rather than financial. After decades of public exposure, he now lives with a form of permanent documentation. Arguments, text messages, personal habits. Many of them became public evidence during trials. Few people experience that level of scrutiny. The psychological effect can be isolating. Trust becomes difficult when private conversations can eventually appear in headlines. So Depp has increasingly chosen quieter environments. He spends extended time in Europe, particularly in rural areas where paparazzi presence is lower. Daily life becomes simpler. Walking through villages, working on music, painting, reading. Aging often forces people into reflection whether they want it or not. When the pace of work slows, memories become louder. The boy who moved through 20 houses before the age of 7. The teenager who dropped out of school to chase music. The young actor who smashed a hotel room in New York. The global superstar who built a pirate character worth billions. All of those versions of Johnny Depp still exist within the same person, but time compresses them. By 62, mortality becomes less abstract. Statistically, life expectancy for American men currently sits in the mid to late 70s. That number is not a deadline, but it becomes a reference point. It reminds people that most of their life may already be behind them. Actors often confront this reality differently than most professions. Their younger selves remain permanently visible on screen. A viewer can watch Edward Scissorhands today and see Johnny Depp exactly as he looked in 1990. Thin, pale, almost fragile. But the man watching that film today is more than 30 years older. Cinema preserves youth, but it cannot stop aging. In recent interviews, Depp has occasionally spoken about the concept of survival rather than success. Not box office numbers. Not awards. Just survival. Remaining alive after decades of excess, chaos, and public conflict. That shift in perspective reflects a broader truth about celebrity culture. Fame often creates the illusion of control. Expensive homes, global travel, enormous income streams. From the outside, it looks like a life designed without limits. But biology ignores fame. The heart beats at the same pace. The liver processes the same toxins. The nervous system carries the same stress responses. Eventually, the body collects the bill for every year of pressure. At 62, Johnny Depp is still working. Still performing music. Still acting occasionally. But the pace is slower. The public identity of Jack Sparrow, the chaotic rock and roll actor, the rebellious Hollywood outsider, that identity now sits beside something quieter. A man in his 60s walking through old European streets. A guitarist practicing alone in a room. A father watching his children become adults. For audiences, the story often ends with a headline, triumph or downfall. Real lives do not end that way. They continue in ordinary routines. Waking up, making coffee, answering messages, stepping outside for air. The tragedy of Johnny Depp is not a single moment. It is the accumulation of decades. Childhood instability, addiction, explosive fame, public legal warfare. All of it layered together until the line between myth and reality becomes difficult to separate. And perhaps that raises the final question. When the costumes are removed and the characters fade away, who is left standing behind them? For Johnny Depp, at 62, the answer is no longer a pirate, a Mad Hatter, or a man with scissors for hands. It is simply a human being carrying the full weight of his own history,